A very good afternoon to our participants and my fellow panelists. Uh, uh, I lead the Team Leads HR Tech business as the CEO for the business, and I've got with me two of my colleagues, our product head Mohit Rewari, uh, with his couple of decades of experience in leading products in technology function, majorly in HR and the other key verticals. We're pleased to have you here with us, Mohit, to share your views and take us through a very, very important topic. And we got the product manager for ATS with us, Mahesh Mayana. Mahesh has been behind the putting together of the entire ATS systems that we are using for our clients. So,
thank you.
Why we chose this topic of mastering the future of hiring, because we've got a lot of changes, especially the hiring world has seen after we've come out of the pandemic. We have seen massive hirings happening in some of the fields. Then it was followed by the white collar lethargy, the great resignation, and the search for talent has really been intriguing question for many of us, because while there are people who are available for the roles, but are we really getting the right skilled people for the right roles at the right time, which is very, very important for a success of any department in the organization or any organization per se, especially with the changing dynamics in terms of the preferences of the candidates and the future employees on working from home, hybrid working, the kind of flexibilities and the kind of other softer aspects that the people have undergone over last 3 to 4 years. Mastering the art of future hiring has come into prominence and is a very critical success factor for any organization in immediate term, medium term, and long term. We at Team Leads HR Tech are working day and night towards innovating our products, especially the applicant tracking systems and our other product stacks, and also the kind of usability of those to see that how we can make this future of hiring more simplified, more automated, more intuitive, and also making it as much candidate friendly and as much recruiter friendly as possible. So without having much further to do, I'll request Mohit, who is our product head, to take us through his thoughts and then involve Mahesh wherever you feel to be. Mohit, over to you.
Thank you, Sumit. Thank you for the introduction. First of all, welcome everyone. A big thanks to all of you for taking out your time today. I'll dig deeper into the topic. Let's start with the agenda for now. And yeah, so we'll try to cover some things in brief and some things in detail. So introduction, we'll have a brief intro about the topic, and most of you are already aware of this as a buzzword. We'll try to dig deeper into what's the importance of data-driven approach, why we need to take it, what is required to have that initiated for your organization, what are the matrices and the quantifiable areas we need to look at. Is there a scope of optimization? Yes. If yes, then what? And then the ATS in action. That is how we are using it and how our customers are able to utilize this, and the way forward. So, giving a brief introduction to this topic, I would like to start with a very simplified approach on this. And you would have seen that many of the HR roles are becoming more and more challenging. And it is asking for a transformation on all levels. It's not on one level. So why we are looking at this data-driven transformation as the next step? Because it's not only aspirational, it's realistic today, and and multiple countries and multiple organizations have started realizing that they can implement it with very small transformation altogether in their journey. Now, if we look at what all get consisted into a data-driven approach, so it talks about 6 things in predominant nature, and those are data collection, data processing, analysis, visualization, and decision making. When we talk about data gathering, we talk about relevant data from all the sources, and they can be databases, they can be surveys, they can be sensors, they can be online platform, they can be your internal platform, they can be your offline platforms which were used in the past as a legendary systems. Uh, the next step to it is data pre-processing. When we talk about pre-processing, it's mainly talking about 3 things: that is cleaning, organizing, and transforming your data so that it is compatible for the analysis which we are going to do at the next step. And analytics, as you all are aware of, it is a statistical or a analytical technique which can be used to extract some insights or identify patterns, or at least uncover relationships within the other data pattern. So with all the 3 steps, the fourth step, which is very vital for decision making, is data visualization. Now, giving it a visualization of a chart or a graph or a dashboard or a simple report can be decided upon the first 3 steps, and then the fifth step of decision making can be taken, which uses all the insight of data visualization, and and basically it makes an informed and a guided decision, and it helps the process to improve in itself. Then the last step, as we all have seen in last couple of years, the iterative approach and the continuous feedback is now part of our cycle. So the last step is monitoring and iteration of this data, and we need to continuously analyze this to make it more impactful. And the decision making basically becoming more adjustable, and it's necessary as well. So, with all these points, what we aim for in this approach is statistical, unbiased, quantitative, predictive, and a scientific way to do things. Rather than going around in a random way, we try to formalize this in an approach. So now, if we move forward, why is it important? Before we take that topic, I think it's important to understand that why we are only discussing this in terms of talent acquisition today. Though there are multiple areas, the talent acquisition is the first part of the cycle. So if you see in an HCM, we can implement data-driven approach in talent acquisition, performance management, in employee engagement satisfaction surveys, in trainings, in succession planning, and there are number of areas which we can talk about. But in talent acquisition, it becomes important because this is the first step of the process. This is where the data starts getting into the system. This is where the first interaction starts with the user. This is where the first effective channel is onboarded into the system, and multiple systems starts getting into the place. So not taking further time, if I have to look into the importance, it's talking about cost optimization, as in hired the time to hire and the cost to hire, the faster recruitment or the optimization are the first 2 things which becomes the primary parameter for any talent acquisition team to monitor. Then productivity is becoming more and more important with the time we are offline. It's getting tracked on minute and a second basis now. So having that tracked and monitorable in a way through this approach is one of the key thing which we'll look at. Better candidate experience, though I think this should be the first one, because in the end, the user is driving the behavior of the product and the cycle. So we aim to give them an experience which is seamless. It's not divided into multiple parts. We aim to have better forecast with the analysis and the data. Then to be able to define clear goals and the metrics and KPIs to be monitored is something which is the primary focus of this approach. And lastly, the continuous improvement, as we talked about, the approach itself is the phenomenal pillar of continuous improvement. So moving on to why we want basically a small comparison between data driven in the traditional approach, so that you can understand why it is not only important for your organization, why it is important in an overall journey of an organization to have this in their transformation roadmap.
Yeah, and
So,
Mohit, I'd like to come in.
sure.
Uh, a traditional approach versus a data-driven approach will be a sustainable competitive advantage that an HR function can deliver to the overall organization. Because if the competition of yours, the HR departments there are following a traditional approach versus a data-driven approach, which you are following using the state-of-the-art systems and the technology that is there, it's going to be a transformational in terms of all the critical parameters, and going to take the organization acceleration much ahead than the competitors. So this is a very unique way of moving the needle and creating a tangible benefit to the business as the HR function.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sumit. So the first point, and most of these are self-explanatory. We'll talk more about it as we are reading it through. So the first point is decision making, and you can very well understand with data in your hand and the patterns easily identifiable, and the metrics which can be tracked on a daily basis, and you are able to get insights out of them. It becomes easy to make a decision on what path we have to take forward, what are the strategies we have to implement, or what is the change in strategy we would want. On the other hand, in a traditional approach, we have subjective judgments, we have personal experiences creating bias, and and the intuition of doing things in a way which one have perceived in a domain usually overpowers the decision which can be taken by data. Then transparency becomes a very dominating factor, as we have record keeping in each of these steps. Everything is auditable. We can refer that in future. We can see where all we slipped and where all we were able to make significant improvements. We can monitor them on daily basis. And on the other hand, if you look at the traditional approach, the data is distributed between so many different sources that collating them and driving out a transparent outcome out of it becomes very difficult. It becomes subjective in most of the cases. Then automation, how it links it all together is having a seamless integrated system experience is something which can be bought in with the data driven approach. Without a data driven approach, it is a semi automated system and a mix and match of manual steps which are outside the system, and it takes a toll in case one has to give a better candidate experience any day. Now, moving forward to a major point of collaboration, which is very much required with different ways of working we have adopted. With a single ATS, a collaborative approach can be decided. A personalized way or a process can be configured on the system itself. We don't have to rely on limitations of small tools like sheets or a separated systems which are not talking to each other on real time, which becomes an ecosystem which is difficult to manage, and too many managing parties become involved into it. So a single system can bring in a collaboration from all parties on a same level at a real time basis. Then one of the major points in improving the system is identifying what are the issues. Now, if we have the data in hand and we are able to predict what's the pattern out of it, then we have an ongoing analysis and an optimization path can be decided. With every optimization path, we can keep on improving the process by some percentages every time. On the other hand, in a traditional approach, it's usually unstructured and it's based on the SMEs. It's dependent on key people to provide inputs and key individuals to make that formalized in a way where it is taken up in the next cycle of development, or it is improved on a cyclic basis. So that itself is a big jump from a traditional way to an automated way of doing things. And the lastly we can talk about is accessibility, and this is something which impacts a lot internally rather than externally. Internally, we face challenges if we have to look in the data real time and do a collation from different sources and report it back with what are the insightful values. But on the data-driven approach, we have all this in a single access with an ease of creating different visualizations of it in a dashboard or a report or charts. And the interpretation is also common. It's not like we have to do a different kind of interpretation. Okay. So if we move forward and we look at what are the steps involving. So in order to start with your journey, what we need to start with. So the first goal where we have to begin with is defining the hiring goals and metrics. So this step itself is very self-explanatory, that one needs to define their metrics and specify what are the measure of success in that. And if we start by identifying these metrics and indicators, these become a relevant talent equation optimization. They may include multiple matrices like the four which are top in the list of everyone these days is time to fill, cost to hire, quality of hires, candidate experience, and we can name a lot many which are in the cycle later also, like source of hire, quality, and all. So defining each of them individually represents how well you are able to manage the cycle and how all you are looking at it. So, and simultaneously defining what are the major parameters and the measure of success with each one of them with a percentage gives you a relevant path to follow. The second step towards this journey would be identifying the relevant data sources. When we talk about data sources, they can be of different ways depending upon your organization. So it depends upon what process you were currently following and what were the sources you were already using. So we can evaluate the effectiveness of each source. It can be such as job boards, it can be applicant database, it can be social media platforms, the past interview records, or the legendary system which is already in place, candidate pipeline which you are using, referrals, direct sourcing, and to measure the quality and quantity of candidates generated from each channel to determine the most effective sources can be done through this. And this is something which we aim for in deciding what is the path or what is the transformation journey for any organization should be when we implement. So next step in this journey, the third step is the data collection method. Choosing the appropriate method is important because you would have seen that few of the data collection methods are tribal. They are not working, but changing them and not really looking at them is becoming a problem. So gathering the data from past recruitment efforts, including candidate sources, application rates, interview to hire ratios, performance data, and hired candidate data becomes very important. And these methods may involve online collection in different ways, and investing that assessment and evaluation platforms in the way where it is suitable for different job roles at different levels. Okay, so let's look at the last two steps. If the second last step, which becomes one of the major steps in this, is implementing the data management system, or I should say the application tracking system, the ATS, which streamlines and centralizes the database, and it allows you to have a personalized journey for each job role, for tracking the progress, for tracking the candidate till hire to the joining steps, resume screenings, providing insights, and recruitment pipeline monitoring can all be done in a single tool with a flows and trajectory processes like approval, sending out to different departments, sharing information to various stakeholders. Everything becomes a little systematic, more streamlined in a way where it is transparent for everybody to understand and see. And the last step in this whole process is to analyze the data and identify patterns. So utilizing predictive analysis to assess candidate success and fit, and analyze the historic data to identify patterns and characteristics of successful hires is something we aim for. And this is something which helps us in predicting the likelihood of the success of new joinings, of iterations for non-joinings, and the real-time reports from the ATS helps you in doing all those things in a comfortable way, in a way your organization is able to absorb them and relate to them. Now, now we come to the cycle where if the implementation is done and we have the patterns, what we can do with those patterns, we can start making informed decisions. We can use the insights which were gathered through the data and the patterns to make decisions which are which can be of improving, which can be of de-scoping, or which can be of changing things in a nature, which makes your organization a little more eco-friendly in terms of doing the talent acquisitions. Now, we have been writing examples, and I believe you all are reading it through also. So scoring systems, you would have seen, they are very common now. So scoring systems with profiles match, scoring system with assessment results, scoring systems in terms of results and interview evaluations, and the other matrices are getting used more frequently. And to have them integrated in a single platform is something we should look at, not to have them segregated at different levels, but to have them in a single go. So within a life cycle, having different scoring methods, different uh, assessment and results mapped into a single chart to make that decision is something you can see is becoming more and more common and more required for each task. Coming to the point where where we can monitor and evaluate on this, uh, so this is pretty much self-explanatory, and continuous monitoring is a part of a data-driven approach. Now, over here, we focus on the key matrices and access them from time to time to see what is the feedback we need to take out of it. Do we need to make an approach, or do we need to change an approach, or see if more feedback need to be incorporated in that? So monitoring involves more feedbacks. Monitoring involves capturing the relevant data at relevant time at each step, rather than missing an opportunity of capturing something important after the step completion. It becomes more important. And then with this evaluation, we move to the last step of the cycle, which is iterate and improve. Basis on those feedbacks, define the paths. And if the tool is configurable enough, you can do these changes real time. You don't need to make the adjustments based on this data in your future roadmap. You can design those techniques and implement them on real time and see what is the efficiency and improvement you are able to see in this evaluation criteria. If there is so as an example, if you see, so the analysis reveals a technical assessment doesn't work, then what do you usually do? You usually change the assessment, or you try to improve the assessment in a way that it is different for each job, or you might consider refining the assessment in terms of the questionnaires asked, in terms of the points we are trying to analyze out of it. So these are the things which helps us on a daily basis, and these things happen on runtime. These are not in a past of in a generation where we used to plan this for 2-3 month cycle. Now these are 2-3 hour cycle which we are talking about. Some of the matrices which play a very crucial role in this process, and I think most of the audience would have seen or heard of them getting calculated in some way. So the first one we are going to talk about is cost to hire, the metrics which calculates an average cost incurred for fulfilling of a job, and it includes all the expenses. So sourcing, advertisement, recruitment, overall recruitment process, tracking time. All this can be captured within a tool and can be monitored on daily basis for each job, for each location, for different geographies, for different branches within an entity. So all that can be done. And important part is to understand how much detailed you want it to be, what your organization needs as the benchmarks, and do you want to segregate in different parameters. Then the next matrices which become important for us is time to hire. When we talk about time to hire, it is the average time which is taken for a fulfilling of a job from the moment it was open till the candidate was hired and onboarded. So that's the average time to hire. Now, this matrix itself is very important because this accesses the efficiency of a recruitment process and identify what are the bottlenecks. So this metric gives you the bottlenecks or delays upfront. They don't shy away from giving you the access on what needs to be addressed on priority. The next matters which are going to talk about is the quality of hire. Now, quality of hire has become crucial in the world where we are offline, or we are not having a face-to-face channels as a common channel mostly. So here, effectiveness of the talent acquisition is evaluated through the performance, skill, and the fit of the hired candidate. So on all these measures, how much they are on the job performance and the retention is we are able to get is something which is getting tracked with this. And this is a long-term metrics. Quality of hire takes a little time to give itself as a result, but without a system, it's very difficult to manage and monitor it. Now, one of the major ones which you can see on the screen, and the five which are highlighted are the ones which we talk about majorly. So, candidate experience is the top three items which we keep on hearing most of the time. And evaluating the experience is essential for attracting and retaining top talent is something we all have understood. Measuring candidate satisfaction through surveys, through feedbacks, providing insight into the areas and what improvements need to be done in the recruitment process, what kind of communication needs to happen, what transparency. So all these things become more and more important. So let's move into the detail of all these, and as and when I've already started explaining, we can see what are the key things we want you to register when you look at it. When we talk about cost to hire, it was invest in an intuitive portal or the site, and which can be integrated and clubbed within the ATS system. We would look at optimizing and automating the forms and flows and the bots which are collecting the data, building a social media platform, and which is tied back to your systems, ATS systems, and then there should be a reward if in case that is allowed. Looking at time to hire, like we were talking about, we define the job clearly. We are able to look at the matrices from the efficiency point of view, and how we can use it in the ATS is something we will look at with few examples in the later in the cycle. Right now, our focus would be to identify what points in each matrices are important for us. And hopefully, Rahul, we are capturing some questions. So we'll look at them in the Q&A session. Okay. So quality of hire we just talked about. It's about the effectiveness of talent acquisition and the performance skill and the fit of hired candidates. The candidate experience, converting insights into area of improvements, measuring the satisfaction, getting feedbacks, having personalized job feed, having an automated and a transparency of process, and giving them insights on each step becomes important over here, and that's getting captured too. So moving on to the next.
And these metrics or these critical parameters, when you are using a ATS, which is day in and day out running for recruitment of various segments of new employees or for the candidates, and it has a latest technology enabled with AI and other critical, the latest technological innovations. All these metrics are absolutely driven by dashboards and are in most of the cases available on a real-time basis to the not only to the recruiters but also to the recruiting managers, as well as a visibility to this is also created with the management if required, so that they can also align their business plans, their budgets based on the way in which we are success of recruiting. Just as an example, if we have to hire, say, 10 people in sales in a particular territory, and the targets for them starts in next quarter, but using the ATS system, if you are able to recruit them within this quarter with 45 days to go, then certainly it can be a value, a tangible rupee value or a dollar value that can be created for the organization, just because using this technology is able to hire the time to hire, which Mohit just mentioned, 45 days in advance. So that really creates that kind of a tangible benefit by leveraging the right technology and then getting a complete visibility on the metrics.
I think you touched upon a very important point, Sumit, and thank you for bringing that. Budgeting and planning is something which becomes very crucial every month, quarter, and in a cyclic behavior for an organization. And without following any metric system, and without following the rates which in which you are going to measure it, it's almost next to impossible to do it accurately or do it in an efficient way. And these matrices in a big way help us out to do it, and help us out to predict what should be the budgets for the year, what should be the budgets on different job roles and different areas altogether. So with that, we will move to the next metric, which is conversion rate and the selection, or it is termed into multiple ways: selection ratio, conversion rate, offer to payroll, and multiple names are given to it. And they all relate to one major step, which is how much time it took from one step to another, and the activity which was done. So when we talk about conversion rate, it's about measuring the percentage of candidate who've moved from one stage to another stage, and that can be of any stage of the recruitment process. Tracking the conversion at each stage is an essential, and it's a form of insight to the effectiveness of candidate screening, candidate selection, candidate onboarding. So it gives an insight of each step altogether. And in the end, if you have to create an area of improvements and optimization within the recruitment funnel, this becomes an important step to cover. So candidate diversity, as you see, this is becoming more and more important, and with different demographic and geographic locations coming in with different job profiles, this is getting important for organizations who are keen to have a right blend. And with the ATS, this is easy to implement. It's not difficult to have a pipeline which is of diversity. Having a blind screening is something which is a approach of past. It's not something which we still follow. We can train, and the system, we can train the recruiters to follow the tools properly, and this can become a very easy activity altogether. Now, if we have to look at all of this in a product altogether, so we can give you an example of the product which we are extending to our customers, and our customers are able to utilize the benefits which we talked about in this fashion. So the current screen which is presented over here is of My Team Lease, which is an ATS system, a part of HCM ecosystem of Team Lease, where you have all the right dashboards, all the right matrices getting tracked on a real-time basis, all the transitioning from one role to another, and the transitioning of states between the recruitment process is captured effectively. And with this, what I like Mahesh you to do is, instead of me going through the screens, let's have a few real-time screens, a few real-time demo videos basis the product live demo, if you can start with.
Sure, Mohit. Thank you for sharing. Let me present my screen. The screen visible, right? Okay. This is the live application, where in the live application, you can able to view the information related to the first login when we do it. It is a recruiter dashboard, which we get it. So once the recruiter logs into the system, what is being assigned for him, how many jobs that are there at his desk, and what are the positions that has been assigned to his desk, every complete dashboard he can able to view. And this dashboard will be as a default, it will be days, 30 days detailing information, he will have it. If he wanted to forecast that the last 90 days, what is his actions that he has been done, he can see that last 90 days, how many jobs he has received, how many positions that he need to fulfill, out of which, as on date, what he has been completed, as on date, what is pending for him to do it. So the same way, how many applications, that means the candidates applied on this particular jobs, how many resumes that has been viewed by each and every recruiter basis, his activities, view activities, everything that he can able to check it in the dashboard. Further, the candidate pipeline information also will be available based on the different status of the candidate profiles, which is received on the various jobs, various locations, and various job requirements. Based on that, what are the application candidate pipeline, that also I can view it.
If I may interject, Mahesh. So when Mahesh is detailing this out, I think it is important to understand that the dashboard is already covering different data sources. It is talking about Team Lease portal. It is talking about all the external portals mapped to it. It is talking about the databases from internal and external sources mapped to it on a single platform. So this itself gives a first point of funneling in the right channel in right way. Please continue, Mahesh. Yeah.
Yes. And at the same time, you can view that what is the last 15 days, what is happened against a particular recruiter. And at the same time, you can see the forecast of the next 15 days. This will give the business budgeting also very clearly that next 15 days, what is my target pipeline, which I need to do it. And the last 15 days, what are the activities that has been done by a recruiter and what are the actions that has been taken against each and every candidate profile, how many offer letters has been released and how many against those offer letters, how many people joined into the organization. And at the same time, I can see that the next forecast for the 15 days, how many people are confirmed their date of joining, that we will be joining within next 15 days. And at the same time, I can see that my billing process, which I need to do it for my vendors, different various sources, which I will be getting it. If my vendors is aligned the candidate for them also, I can do the invoicing based on using this system here itself. So these are, and moreover,
So
I can go.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mahesh, I'll interject for a moment. So like Mahesh is explaining it in a 15-day cycle. This is usually what we have seen with our client base, and this is the cycle we have been able to, get into the accord with all the clients, where they are tracking out each recruiter, each job posting on twice a basis in a month, and they are able to change the course path and make modifications accordingly. And these are the kind of charts which Mahesh is showing on the screen, that this is how it will look day to day wise. The clarity on the data and the decision making on that becomes so easy. Mahesh, you can please continue. Yeah, I think you were scrolling over to show the chart numbers. And
yes, this chart will be for the last 50 days, what has been happened from a particular recruiter. Based on that, I can view that information related that on that particular date, how many offer letters has been released from that particular recruiter. Either if I am a reporting manager, I can see my entire team, what they are doing it. Team-wise split ups also, I can able to view it in the dashboards. Generally in MIS reports, we will download everything in Excel. After that, we do the computations and we do the checks. But here by system defaultly, this will come in a real-time syncing informations from the various parameters that are there on the system. Based on that, on the dashboard itself, you can view all this information on the real-time basis. These are the offer letters related, and these are the people where the next last 15 days on each and every day, how many people has been joined into the organization. And we can see the next forecast also based on the number of interviews proposed. And these are the candidates confirmed their date of joining within next 15 days will be joining, and so on so that. This will helpful for the recruiters and the HR managers to keep the instances of these many people will be forecasted for joining into the organization, where that admin team will be get ready for their onboarding onto the system. So these are some of the dashboards which will be helpful for the recruiter sites. Further to this, how to create a job, and after creating the job, what all the accesses that will be happen, and how these jobs will be get created, and where all we can share these jobs informations, and how do I get the resources from different job sharing portals, and as well as from the vendors, how do I get that information? We'll see through those things. This is one of the job posting locations where I can do a post job. Generally, how you post a job with LinkedIn or even Indeed, the same way, even in Master or in Freedom Fight. All these locations where how you post a job, even here also you will be having the same contents, where you will be having a type of the jobs, whether it is a permanent job or a temporary job or a contractual jobs or an internship, like that options will be there. Designations and which job roles that is specified. Based on that, your qualifications, which is related to your graduation or post-graduation, as per your requirement for that particular jobs, you can add it. And the same, which locations that this particular position is available. Based on that, how many vacancies that you will be adding it. So based on that, each and every job, the number of skills, what you wanted to have it for that particular job requirement. Based on that, you will be adding the mandatory skills and optional skills.
Yeah,
one beautified thing.
Mahesh,
Yes.
sorry to comment. Mahesh, just to for all our audience, while this is a very elaborate system, and we can take you through detail if you are anyone of is interested. But the point that we wanted to show you is that it is very meticulously done in terms of it can fit into the requirement, whether it's a blue collar workforce or a white collar workforce, or whether it's an industry workforce, or it's like a sales force which is required. So very clearly across multiple segments, because these systems at present recruit lakhs and lakhs of people in a particular year. And it's all with our experience of more than 2 decades in the HR world. So maybe Mahesh, we can come directly to the value adds, or directly, rather than taking to in detail. Maybe for some people who are interested in detail, we can take them later.
Sure. So based on this one, we'll be having a template. The default templates of job descriptions are also available. Based on this job description detailing, it is a simplified methods where you can add and you can proceed for the job posting. And here the one scenario which we will be getting it, you can share this job with the public portals like Naukri and Indeed or in LinkedIn. Based on the performance of these things, you can publish those. Once if you publish that, from that connectivity, you will be receiving that responses from each and every actions. Once the responses comes in, you can see that from which source location that you received these responses. And the responses will be segregated very clearly based on your job description. System automatically matches how many exact responses. For example, this particular job with telesales ESIC company, all responses, that means total number of responses I received is 244, out of which exactly matching as per my requirement, 212, which are giving it. This will give the massive information that you don't need to do the manual one.
Mahesh, if I may interject, if I may interject, I think I would like to summarize it for all the audience. So what Mahesh is usually, trying to convey with all this is that different sources can be combined into one. Then a particular job posting can be made available on different sources at same time. All the applications on that posting can be consolidated within the same portal, though if required they can be segregated and they can be viewed differently. But the funneling is in a way that it's customized for a recruiter. It's easy for them to understand in a single page, rather than viewing it on 5 different job sources. They can simply post it at one place, collate the results at one place, filter it, and proceed with that listing in one single shot. And they have a clear view of out of 100 or out of X, how many percentage was the relevant one, how many were able to move forward, and where on which stage they are within the same product page. Yeah, Mahesh, please.
Yeah. So once it is segregated, other than that, if the number of people who has been applied, and we do have a complete segment that all the resumes, whichever portal, whichever application that has been received. For example, only one application, you have one particular job, you have got only five open positions, but 500 plus people has been applied for that. All those 500 plus people data will be stored in your centralized resume bank. From this, any nth minute, if you want to retrieve such kind of databases, you can go and retrieve that databases where your candidate profile counts and the candidate information, just like you have got a pattern of search buttons, you have got it. Using that itself, you can see that in your resume database bank, how many people are exactly matching as per requirement. Based on that, you can do these actions that you can pipeline into these candidates that they will be at the future date. This can be helpful for them. Along with that, you can do a communication also from the system itself, bulk email sending and bulk offer letter sending, bulk call letters sending, all these actions that you can do it from the system level itself, which will ease the business of writing one-on-one emails. Like the system automatically sends these templates of emails and SMSs to the candidates. That will use the candidate pipeline very interestingly, that they can be response back immediately. Even the responses also captured in the system. And every nth minute, once the candidates are started, you started as an interacting with the candidates, you will be having an interactive methods. What you had been discussed with the candidates in the previous discussions, everything that can be captured in the system through SMS communication, email communication, call communications, or other any means of communications with the WhatsApp integrations, everything that you can record that add interaction information in the system, which will use the complete information, the journey of the candidate right from profile added into the system till he receives an offer letter, what all the actions that has been done, everything can be get automatically recorded, and that can be viewed for the future references as and when it is required. And further to that, we do have the reports factors, that's usage reports, offer letter reports, and interview status reports. This is purely related to the HR segments, and based on that, these reports can be generated. Along with that,
so these are few of the reports which we are using with our customers, and you can see we have a list of few giants who are using this, and they have successfully implemented this complete approach.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just to give an example, one of our well-known telecom customer implemented this last year, and they have been using it very, in a deeper way, where they are able to change and optimize the recruitment process in last 12 months couple of times. They have used this algorithm to create vast amount of data and resumes for themselves. The interview feedbacks are captured. Then they are able to manage the performance and matrices and identify the characteristics on the real-time basis. That's something which our clients have already seen, and they have evidenced the benefit.
Yeah, and basis on this, there has been a significant savings in terms of cost per hire, in terms of time per hire, and overall the candidate experience needle has moved significantly for this. So we've got double-digit growths in the required matrices which are there, and efficiency improvements which are there before and after the clients have started using various systems, various ATS systems, and we can talk from our experience. So I think thanks, Mahesh, for taking it. I think Mohit, we can come to the final towards the conclusion, because I think we've got now just 10 minutes or left.
Yes.
Sure. So let me get back to the presentation. Okay. So I think most of this is something which Mahesh have already shown, and we have a visit. So yeah, we were not able to look at the mobile, but yeah, mobile is having a similar view. It's a responsive view altogether, and being in mobile age, we can understand how important it is to have everything on your hand. So lastly, coming to the point which is important to conclude is, what is the way forward for you? So for the way forward, I think there are a few recommendations we can make. We would like to make recommendations on exploring this data-driven talent equation with us, and what we can bring it on the table is something you can very well look at with the demos and get into the interaction with us. We have been implementing this for multiple customers, where we are using analytics and AI to help them. We are using predictive analysis and machine learning to automate their end-to-end processes. And few of the charts, which few of the numbers which we can very well articulate is, we have been able to increase the candidate job match and the role match from 75 to 85% in most of the cases. We have improved the retention from 20 to 50%. Now, and these approach are significantly proven to give that kind of benefits. The time and the cost saving in the talent acquisition overall cycle comes about 35 to 50%. And these are the numbers which I'm quoting from already published reports. The complete end-to-end machine learning and AI tool-based faster hiring can improve the retention cycle and the delivery up to 85% with respect to cost, time, and productivity gains. And with that, I would like you to just take a note of the URLs. We are available on this. We'll be more than happy to get in touch with you. We'll be more than happy to understand what challenges you are facing and how well we can contribute in solving them. So, with anything from your side as a closing note before we take your questions and answers?
I think the way ahead to create a sustainable competitive advantage and to create a tangible business difference to the overall organization via efficient recruiting, because people getting the right people are the most critical assets of any organization, and getting the right talent will not only help the organization but also help to nurture that talent to have a more satisfying employee if you are able to get the right people for the right seats at the right time. So I think very, very important that we leverage the right technology for this, and we have seen those numbers that Mohit just said in terms of making tangible difference to some of our clients when they started using these high-tech systems. and the absolute details, etc. We can ROI, etc. All that is something that we can have a discussion if anyone is interested on this.
Thank you so much. So I think we have a couple of questions. I'll just take them up. The questions around sharing the details and the tools and the presentations. We will do that. Our marketing team will reach out to you. We'll be able to make sure that you have a SPOC assigned in terms of understanding what is the problem statement you are trying to solve. The next question is, since we are using the HCM ecosystem software for talent acquisition, is there similar or relatable to other ATS applications created by Oracle or any other system software? Yes, I would not say that it is not similar. It is similar, but the quantification of similarity would be different. Is it similar in terms of 30-40% match? Yes, it is. Is there a configurable option over here where we can personalize it? Yes, there is. Can we integrate it with multiple systems in your organization? Yes, we can. So an answer can vary basis what's the ecosystem you are using, and what is the what all you want to use from this ecosystem. So we have a suite of HCM products. What we are talking about is ATS in the recruitment cycle, and in this vertical, if you want to use it in particular capacity or in particular percentage, we can enable that, and that's something we have been doing for multiple customers. Okay. On the other data sharing points, I believe we'll be able to share that data points. Yeah, sure. Any other question from anybody else, Rahul? Or
Yes.
Yes. So for the anonymous attendees, I would say we would need your email IDs in order to share details. Please, if you can just take a note of the ones which are there on the screen and write back to us, because for all the identified entities, we'll be able to share the details wherever the questions are. Thank you. That's good. I think, Sumit, we can wrap up the session for today.
Sure.
Thank you, Mahesh. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Sumit.
Thank you, all our audience, for the patient hearing, and thanks, Mohit, for sharing your perspectives as a product leader, and Mahesh as the manager for ATS systems for us. So thank you so much, and look forward to another session on this as per the popular demand from our various attendees. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for taking time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.